In 1927, Mr. Huntington left his estate here at the Huntington Garden.
Tasha Nichols, perpetual know-it-all.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So what brings you out here today?
I had a couple questions about the Bible, but this time they're historical.
Okay. What do you want to know?
I think I understand that God inspired the authors to write the Bible, but how did those words make it down to us?
That's a great question. Do you want to go inside and start exploring?
Well, either way.
Well, originally the Bible was written on papyrus. It was copied onto a new scroll every time the old ones wore out, leaving very few copies of the old ones. It was then copied onto a codex, which...
Whoa, what is a codex?
Well, a codex is like an early version of a book. The papyrus leaves were stacked on top of each other instead of being stitched together side by side.
Oh, so what happened after the codex?
Well, step into my office.
Oh, wow. I had no idea this was this big.
Yep, this is where I work. Okay, so here's the next step. A man named Johann Gutenberg invented the printing press. His first mass publication was the Bible.
So this is a real Gutenberg Bible?
Yes. This was printed in about the 1450s, so it's about 500 years old. Actually, the Bible is still the best-selling book of all time.
I understand all of that, but I have another question.
Okay.
How can we be sure that the words that we read today are the exact same ones that were written by the original authors?
Well, let's start with the Old Testament. Most scholars will tell you that the Hebrew scribes were obsessed with keeping their documents error-free. They would even count the numbers of letters on each page so that when they transcribed, there was no error. And if there was an error, they were immediately destroyed.
Destroyed?
Yes.
For one letter?
For one letter. They would burn the documents just to make sure that there was nothing inaccurate that was circulated.
Okay, what about the New Testament?
Well, have you ever heard of Aristotle, Socrates, Plato? Did you realize that their earliest copies of their work weren't until 1,000 years after they died?
1,000 years?
Yes. But get this, the New Testament was copied only 25 years after the death of the last apostle.
So that book back there, that was the real deal?
Yes. You see, the thing is, most Christians take for granted that the Bible is true and accurate. What they don't understand is that all of history validates their faith in the Word of God. Come on.
See, I have a couple more questions for you and Danny. Are you guys available for dinner tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night? I am. I'll give Danny a call.
Thanks.
Okay.